But those spells, they have their expiration date, and they usually backfire.
I beg your pudding?
There are scientific explanations to why people don't remember a Swift concert, but it could also be that they have been temporarily possessed.
Did you consider that it could be demons?
If a gay couple walks in holding hands, there is absolutely nothing unbiblical, nothing unchristlike about that owner refusing service to them.
There's nothing unchristlike about refusing service to two men holding hands? Do you want to try that again?
Everything from murder, theft, adultery, homosexuality, pornography, gender confusion.
No, not gender confusion. That's even worse than murder. Hello, lovely people. My name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. Once upon a time, long, long ago, Christianity was a weird, cult-like fringe religion that people were afraid of, that people made up stereotypes about, and persecuted people for. Eventually, Christianity became mainstream, and it said, "Do unto others as they did unto you before, because an eye for an eye is really good, and we love vengeance." Christianity now wears the big boots and can stomp on whomever it likes. Combine that with the power of the monetization of fear, and we have 10 billion YouTube channels devoted to calling everything and everyone satanic, witchcraft, etc. It's time to answer the all-important question that we've all wondered. Does Taylor Swift cast spells on her listeners? This is a video by Vlad Savchuk, who we learned about recently. If you hadn't seen that video, it's probably a good way to introduce you to Vlad. He has a ministry and he makes YouTube videos, and he has 5,000 donation links for his ministry, and he sells fear to Christian parents. On that note, I was unsurprised when I was looking up this phenomenon to find that Alan Parr has also done a video about why parents need to be beware of Taylor Swift. Again, if you're not familiar with The Beat by Alan Parr, Christian man, has a ministry, 5,000 donation links, sells fear to Christian parents. Everything is bad, everything is scary, society especially is bad. You should listen to me so you know what to fear, and also then I make money. Win-win for everyone. Again, you may check out my previous video on The Beat by Alan Parr if you wish to know more about this gentleman. I'm not a huge fan of either of these guys, so I've just kind of collected a whole bunch of different sources. Basically every big Christian channel that I am familiar with, I've just looked and found a fairly recent video on the topic. Answers in Genesis have a video called Satanism Goes Mainstream, This Is Twisted, Katy Perry, Billie Eilish, Lil Nas X, and more. I also found a video by a chap called Fight for Truth, who calls his followers the Truth Army, which is it's a little bit cringe if we're going to be honest with ourselves, isn't it? Just a little bit. Who has a video called Taylor Swift Finally Admits It. Needless to say, there were, so many choices. We're going to start with Vlad. Does Taylor Swift cast spells on her listeners? Thankfully, Vlad is one of those channels, people who actually puts chapter markers in their videos, so that helps. One of the most popular singers of all time, we don't need to know that. History and spiritual upbringing of Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has definitely referred to herself as a Christian in the past, so I presume Vlad will mention that. Let's see.
They hold something special, something holy and not superficial. So here is to Jesus Christ, who saved our lives. In her early 2020 documentary, Miss Americana, Swift explicitly identified as a Christian. However, that statement came more in the context of her decision to endorse a political candidate. She's one of those people that a lot of people in our culture today are spiritual but not religious. And under the umbrella of spiritual pretty much comes anything. All roads go to heaven.
Well, no, she said Christian. She didn't say spiritual. Spiritual is a pretty big umbrella that could mean lots of things, but she identified explicitly as a Christian, which you said a minute ago, and it's supposed to be what you want.
Practicing yoga, aligning your chakras, all of that stuff. Her present witchcraft persona. She says it's like casting a spell in her song, Willow. And she talked about the meaning of that song and the meaning behind many lyrics. And she said this, she said, Willow is about intrigue, desire, and complexity that goes into wanting someone. I think it sounds like casting a spell to make someone fall in love with you. And there's a very oddly specific visual that's involved in her Willow video.
Welcome to Christian Minister Doesn't Understand Metaphors. She said, it's like casting a spell. The the whole song is an allegory, I suppose. Disclaimer, I don't really know. I only know the big Taylor Swift songs that were on the radio when I, like, worked in places that played the radio. I don't really know a lot about Taylor Swift, but it sounds from that like this song is an, you know, the image of casting a spell is the allegory for falling in love, the complex feelings of love and desire, like she said. Why would you take something that is being described metaphorically and be like, that's fucking weird, isn't it? That's a bit suspicious that she mentioned the word spell. I think it's quite childish.
Open about her witchcraft persona. There's a TikTok video that specifically shows the standard Hollywood image of witchcraft. People have been accusing her of performing witchcraft. She credits Lady Gaga for casting a magic spell on her, and Calvin Harris, her former boyfriend.
It's not literal. It does feel like talking to a child, even though the thing is, Vlad Savchuk's not a child. He's an adult who knows better. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's taking metaphor and allegory and just like taking, you know, emotive statements. Oh, I've got Lady Gaga to thank, you know, she cast a spell. She's saying that Lady Gaga actually did witchcraft to Obviously, anyone with a fucking brain knows that's not what she's saying. Everything is being deliberately put together and interpreted in such a way as to fit this pattern. It's kind of, I want to say it's pathetic. And I'm going to. And I have.
Boyfriend. Now, something that we must understand is that it is actually very common practice, especially in pagan cultures, and America is becoming more pagan, to cast spells for people to find love. So if you want to find love, you would go...
It is becoming, well, whether it's becoming more common or it's more common now than whenever, I don't know about that. I'd need to see some statistics. Citation needed on that one. But sure, people in certain pagan practices or whatever can do love spells. They don't work because spells aren't real. And I mean, that's really all I have to say about it.
And they would cast spells on you. These spells are extremely dangerous. First of all, the whole idea is demonic, but those spells, they have that expiration date, and they usually backfire.
I beg your pudding? Those spells... So, again, this is one of the weird things, right? One of the weirder things on these right-wing American, and I'm putting Vlad in the American, conservative American Christian pile because he has lived in America since he was 13 and been brought up in the American conservative Christian fold. So when I say this American conservative Christian, I'm including Vlad in that. The thing that always kind of blows my mind about this particular type of Christian is that they talk about all these other beliefs being real. You shouldn't do witchcraft because witchcraft is real and that's bad for your soul. Like, he thinks that people making special tea while reading something in Latin... Gosh, doesn't that sound like Christianity? You know, he thinks that that's actually going to impact the world and you should be careful because there are risks. Like, at least in my experience of the world, the people I've met, the majority of Christians that I know would be like, well, no, that's not real. Those pagan things and other gods, and that's not real because there's one God and he's the ultimate power, blah, blah, blah. The things that Christians are sort of supposed to think. It's just very weird to me every time this comes up and they're like, you should watch out for these other spiritual practices because they are true and real. And that just blows my mind every time. So you should watch out for witchcraft and love spells because they have an expiration date. What the fuck does that mean? And they can backfire. We prayed for people, delivered people from demons that got those demons through those spells. When those spells stop working, those people that came together because of that spell, they live like cats and dogs. They hate each other. And a lot of times when they break up or something happens with that, it's just devastating on that relationship. Just one more little tip for Vlad, if he was ever so gracious as to listen to an alternative opinion. Correlation doesn't equal causation. I feel like that's another catchphrase of the channel, along with citation needed. You can buy citation needed merch down below if you wanted some. It's just a bizarre way to live your life, to assume that if a couple breaks up, and one time they made some tea while saying stuff in Latin. That is why. It's because they tried to cast a spell, and the spell ran out. The spell only lasts, 6 months, and at the 6-month mark, you get a demon, and the demon ruins your relationship. Like, what an insane leap. What an insane leap of logic.
Satan, 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 very cool guy. You should worship Satan, super cool, very cool, worship.
Oh, hello. I'm sorry, I didn't notice you there. I was just listening to some of my favourite gospel music with my Raycon earbuds. You must have heard about Raycon earbuds before, and if you haven't, then that means you haven't watched all of my videos. And what gives? Am I not good enough for you? You probably know by now that Raycon gives you the same high quality that you expect from the big boys, but at half the price. Let me tell you, it's just getting better. If you've never pulled the trigger on the everyday earbuds, or you want another pair, now is the time because Raycon have just released their upgraded model of the everyday earbuds. Some of the top new features include multi-point connectivity. That means it can connect to 2 devices at once. For example, for me, my laptop and my phone. Lots of Bluetooth devices, you have to turn them off, turn them on, disable Bluetooth on a device, and then add it to a new... It's got multi-point, so you don't have to do that. You can connect to 2 devices at the same time. 0 problems. Plus, these now have active noise cancellation, which means you can listen to your Christian music and connect directly with the Lord, or Taylor Swift, with no interruptions. Maybe Taylor Swift is your Lord and Saviour. I know a few people like that. I'm more of a King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard myself, but that's, we all have our tastes. One of the less important things to most people, but nice features that I really like, is that these come in a variety of super cute colours. For me, earbuds are basically an accessory that I wear every day, so I kind of like them to look nice as well. It's just a nice feature that I like. Plus, behold my beautiful protective case colour. Look at that marbling design. Not only does it match the purple beautifully, but it also saves me if I'm throwing things out of my handbag or whatever I want to do. Not only do these look great, they expose the actual charge port, and they support wireless charging, so I just never take mine off. Forever safe, baby! Look how snug and happy they are in their safe little home. Raycon has a 30-day happiness guarantee. There's really no reason not to try them out for yourselves. Click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/Emma Thorne to get 15% off plus free shipping.
Now, something I mentioned in the beginning, her post-concert amnesia. There are scientific explanations to why people don't remember a Swift concert, but it could also be that they have been temporarily possessed. It could also have been that they are temporarily influenced by Satan.
Here's a phenomenon that comes up when I talk to my friends who do theatre and stuff like that. Sometimes we talk to each other about auditions, and sometimes when we finish them and we go to the pub and we're trying to talk about what happened, we have no recollection of that event because there was so much going on emotionally and psychologically. It's like a black hole. I don't remember what I did. I don't remember how I sounded. It happens, and there are a number of reasons for it. But more importantly, it could be demons. Did you consider that it could be demons, BBC News, when you were reporting on this? Let's just entertain the idea for a second. What would be the purpose, Vlad, of Taylor Swift temporarily possessing her fans for the duration of a concert? Given that Taylor Swift has been popular for quite a long time now, and her fans, other than being reinvigorated in their love for her music, don't seem to be causing any worldwide disasters or unleashing plagues of demons upon the earth. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if that was a thing, there would be some tangible effects in the world.
Exactly the situation for every single person who doesn't remember her concert. I can speak of that, but I do know that if you keep showing up to places where witchcraft is glorified, where spells are being sung and praised about, where heartbreak and all of this stuff is constantly being celebrated.
Okay, then he goes on to say that she believes in karma and karma is bad, and then the rest of his video is why spells are bad and magic is evil and karma is not the gospel. So thanks, Vlad. That was all very enlightening. Let's see what Alan Parr, who does not use chapter markers. Thanks, Alan, for the future editing job you've given me. He's one of my least favourite. Alan Parr really hammers in the fear, but let's see what he's got going on in this video. Here's why Christians need to beware of Taylor Swift.
Reason why I want to cover this is because it is so very, very important, and let me tell you why. Many of you...
Because Taylor Swift is massively famous and her name is trending because of her tour going on right now. So I will get lots of views and clicks and money from this video. Was that Was that not the reason?
Watching this video, you would consider yourself a Swiftie. If you don't know what that is somebody who follows and supports Taylor Swift. And even if you are not, you probably know somebody who is, and you might be a parent and your children are watching her.
That's absolutely his target audience. You might be a parent and your children like this music, this seemingly innocent pop music, but actually it's terrible and bad and you should be afraid and donate to my ministry.
The thing that you're going to notice, guys, whenever you check out her new album, Tortured Poets Society or whatever it's called.
That is what it's... Don't pretend you don't know what it's called, Alan. That's what it's called. Even I know that was correct, and I've not heard any of it. Ooh, they're all secret Swifties, I bet you.
Is that about 11 of the songs that are on this album are already labeled as explicit, right? So right away, you need to know that if your daughter or your...
There's 31 on there. So as I understand, explicit just means strong language, references to drugs, alcohol, sex, that sort of thing. But it's kind of subjective because there are lots of songs with what most of us would consider explicit language that aren't marked as such. And it depends on basically who is publishing the music. It might be that the song refers to sex, that it has a swear word in it. It could be anything.
Your kids are listening to this music, that it's explicit. It's got lyrics in there, as we're going to see, that are very explicit.
That's why there is a filter. So that if your kids are listening to music on Spotify and you don't want them to listen to anything explicit, you can just toggle that filter. And then your children won't hear the explicit songs. They've still got 20-odd Taylor Swift songs from that album to listen to. Problem solved.
So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to analyze several songs off of her latest album. I'm looking at some of the lyrics. Fortnite. Now, if you don't know what a fortnight is, it's not the game, all right? It is a 2-week span of time. So essentially in this song, as you're going to see, she is talking about a 2-week affair that she had with a married man that has left her confused, has left her depressed. She's turned to alcohol and things like that. And so let's just jump into it, okay? So she writes in the song, "I touched you for only a fortnight." You see that she's using some very sensual, sexual language. And as parents, I want you to ask yourself, do you want this type of music to be influencing your children?
Do you want to protect your children from the word touched? I think you might be a little bit touched, if that's a problem. Like, where is the bar? I mean, come on. When I was a kid, everyone was singing, "I'm honey, honey," and we all just thought that it was something else. Most of us thought it was honey. I'm honey. Honey, honey, honey. You're either young enough that you don't really get it, and it's just words to a song, or you know what it means, and nothing happens. Just the world exists. Adults who like each other a lot will probably touch. You know, like how you hug people. Just where is the bar? If that's the bar, that you can't even let your children listen to a song that has the word touched in it, that's fucking ludicrous. If we're gonna go through every single lyric like this, Alan, I gotta skip ahead. This is some madness.
Apparently, this affair that she had with a married man, which we're going to see in just a moment, was so devastating whenever it ended emotionally for her that it sent her to a place where she turned to alcohol in order to try to get over or try to appease her feelings of depression or whatnot.
And again, that's not glorifying or celebrating it. That's saying it's a bad thing. Not gonna lie, not one of Alan's best. Maybe he was right to put the disclaimer at the beginning that this is a different video to usual, because it don't work so good. Okay, let's watch Fight for Truth. Taylor Swift finally admits it.
Hey guys, Colin here, and welcome back to Fight for
Colin here, welcome back to Fight for Truth. Working on my Colin voice.
Truth, the channel where we bring you Christian commentary about the things.
What's the purpose? Sorry, distracted. What's the purpose of showing your own channel name on screen in your own video? Should I be doing that? Is it in case you forget where you are? You've gone to a Taylor Swift concert and you've got amnesia. This is Emma Thorne, because that's me. Don't forget, okay?
Taylor Swift has very often refrained from commenting on hot-button, controversial issues for obvious reasons. After all, she has one of the largest audiences in the world, and of course, she doesn't want to divide her share of the market. But most people have assumed that she was at the very least moderate when it came to politics and things of that nature. Of course, we all know that show business is a cesspool of debauchery.
Show business is a what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I say things wrong every video. Thankfully, Vlad? Every video I say something stupid. If it's funny and you want to laugh at it and you get pleasure out of that, you bloody do it. Sometimes when you say a word wrong, it's just funny. Like cesspool. It's no shade to Colin. It's just funny. Some things are just fun.
On the other hand, Taylor grew up in a two-parent household in Tennessee, a very traditionally conservative Christian state.
How interesting to specify that she grew up in a two-parent household. That just feels like such a dig, such a, a subtle but harsh burn to people who didn't grow up in a two-parent household. That's not very nice. It's almost like the implication is she grew up with a mother and a father. So she should be normal. Dude.
Resurfaced from 2018, all the rumors were put to bed. Taylor Swift has finally admitted that she is, in fact, a Christian? Yes, that's right.
Dude, Colin, your delivery is so strange. I like it. Maybe it's just the part of America he's from. Maybe it's just how he's learnt to perform to the camera, but his delivery is crazy. I like it.
With her mom and her dad and a few other people. The comments she makes are about Republican Donald Trump and Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. Watch this.
We've not got involved with politics or religion.
And the other thing, just from a security standpoint, Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history, and if he doesn't win, then at least I tried.
So essentially, Taylor wants to publicly oppose these conservatives. But her father and another man, who I suppose is her manager, they're concerned with both her safety and how this will affect her audience's size. But she won't budge. In fact, she's very sad that she hasn't publicly denounced Trump before, and she's insistent that doing so now would put her on, quote, the right side of history.
Why did you make us watch it? Why did you go, watch this, and then make us watch the clip if you're just going to repeat it word for word? We saw that, dude. It happened.
Care about money or fame, because Taylor Swift is willing to be the sacrificial lamb, the one to fall on her sword, to stand up for what is good and right and true. She's a warrior for Christian values. And as she goes on, she gets even more emotional. At one point, she's on the verge of tears, but at the end, she makes a shocking statement. Watch this.
It really is a big deal to me. She votes against fair pay for women. She votes against the reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which is just basically protecting us from domestic abuse and stalking. She thinks that if you're a gay couple, or even if you look like a gay couple, you should be allowed to be kicked out of a restaurant. It's really basic human rights, and it's right and wrong at this point, and I can't see another commercial and see her disguising these policies behind the words Tennessee Christian values. Those aren't Tennessee Christian values. I live in Tennessee. I am Christian. That's not what we stand for.
So you see, with a quivering and passionate voice, Taylor says that she must come out opposing Tennessee Republican Marsha Blackburn. Why? Well, because she opposes fair pay for women, and she thinks that it's okay for a private business owner to refuse service to a gay couple.
To discriminate against a gay couple. Yes, that is what she said. Again, he goes, watch this, and then we watch it, and then he reiterates exactly what we just watched. But you'll notice this video is just over 10 minutes. So that's probably why. Anytime you watch a YouTube video and you're like, this is stupidly repetitive and kind of boring, even though he has very little to say, if it's just over 10 minutes, it's for advertising purposes. It's for money purposes. You're welcome.
Deal with that briefly. First off, the wage gap is a myth that has been debunked.
Ooh! Okay. Wage gap is a myth.
So many times, I would put it on par with the existence of unicorns and leprechauns.
Yeah, or like a big wooden ship fitting all of the species of animals in the world and then them being maintained for 40 days by 8 human beings in a devastating global flood. You know, something crazy like that.
When you adjust for factors like hours worked and what career field you choose,
we're not going to go into it because this isn't a video about the wage gap. There are 2 ways of looking at it. Colin is specifically looking at the non-adjusted wage gap. That's the difference between what men and women make in general. Factoring into that are things that might be, in part, discrimination and not something that women would choose and therefore are still important to consider. Even if it's not about them being paid for the same thing. But is it about childcare being forced on women? Is it about women being presented with fewer opportunities? All those things factor into it, and they're worthy of discussion. Just because it doesn't neatly fall into some exact science, this kind of guy blames women as if, like, those aren't, you know, whatever. That's not the point of the discussion today. Then there is the adjusted wage gap, which takes into account what men and women made for working the same jobs, the same hours. If you're analysing a company and you measure the unadjusted and adjusted pay gap, they both have value. If the adjusted pay gap exists, if there's like a 4% difference in favour of men, then it means that there's likely discrimination at play. If there is an unadjusted gap, it might mean that hiring practices favour men, for example. It might mean that there aren't sufficient childcare options in place for women who work there. Both are important. The idea that because the unadjusted and adjusted pay gaps both exist, that neither of them exist, that it's not real somehow, is just deliberate delusion. A lot of kind of men's activist type guys take that and they read that fact and go, well, it's down to women's choice then. Women don't make as much money because they choose not to make as much money, in the same breath as they're usually condemning women for being too career-driven. Fucking work that one out. It's ridiculous to assume that women are not choosing promotions as much as men are, that women aren't, you know, pushing as hard, and that, you know, there's no cultural factors at play here that we need to make adjustments for. It's just ridiculous. It tells you a lot about the channel Fight for Truth and Colin and his views. It doesn't surprise me that he would be like a hard conservative Christian, some kind of like anti-feminist, the wage gap isn't, you know, just whatever. So, okay, we don't like Taylor Swift because she believes in equal pay. Let's just move on.
Christian values that she is, Taylor has seemingly forgotten that according to scripture, quote, the laborer deserves his wages. 1 Timothy 5:18. And secondly, let's suppose that a local Christian...
A deliberate misunderstanding of the wage gap.
Christian owns a restaurant and has an establishment that he considers family-friendly. If a gay couple walks in holding hands in front of the families and children who are eating, there is absolutely nothing unbiblical, nothing un-Christ-like about that owner refusing service to them.
There's nothing un-Christ-like about refusing service to 2 men holding hands? Do you want to try that again? Love each other as I have loved you. Love your enemies. Do good to them. Be devoted to one another in love. I'm just saying, there's nothing un-Christ-like or unbiblical about discriminating against 2 men if they're holding hands. And you know what? The thing is, it doesn't matter if it's specifically in the Bible or not, because let's be honest, everything isn't in the Bible. Everything about life that you should and shouldn't do isn't in the Bible because it's a very specific collection of old texts, of historic texts from the ancient world. It doesn't cover everything in life, and if it's not in the Bible, then it's fine. You know, wire fraud isn't in the Bible. What about the stuff that is in the Bible? Like stoning your disobedient children to death. Is that fine? Because it's in the Bible? Genocide? Hello? As I was about to say, it doesn't matter if it's not in the Bible because you're not in a theocracy. You don't live in a Christian country. Much as you might beg and wish and pray every night, it doesn't matter. And discrimination law is discrimination law. Whether you think it's wrong, well, that just makes you an asshole and an idiot. I'm sorry, but, like, it doesn't matter. Ooh, I hate this channel. This is the worst of the 3.
Trying to protect the innocence of children and the more...
Trying to protect the innocence of children from seeing 2 men holding hands. Trying to defend blatant, surface-level, shallow discrimination like that, like it's a good, honest thing that everyone should be allowed to do. How can you say that out loud as a human being in 2024 and think that's okay? This video is from 2023. So just, edit that statement in your mind and it will make sense.
Moral atmosphere of his establishment. You see, Jesus himself says that anyone who causes little children to stumble into sin would be better off with a...
Children are not going to sin because they've seen two men hold hands. Being gay is not a contagion, right? It's not a disease. You don't get it from seeing someone that could be perceived as gay. That's fucking ludicrous. Ugh, I can't watch any more of him. He's actually disgusting. He's really, really disgusting. So, Fight for Truth. That's a channel for you to avoid at all fucking costs. And he's got more subscribers than me. Why does this keep happening? Let's have a quick look at this Answers in Genesis video just to round off the whole thing. Satan goes mainstream, This is Twisted, Katy Perry, Billie Eilish, Lil Nas X, and more.
At last night's Grammys, they, as Smith now prefers to be called, identified as Satan.
Katy Perry! Love using a Piers Morgan clip as the opening. If you didn't know who Answers in Genesis were, that would tell you everything you need to know right off the bat.
Perry performs Dark Horse at the Grammys.
Blood Sneakers, Lil Nas X's collaboration with art collective Mischief. The 666 pair of sneakers feature gold pentagrams, inverted crosses, as well as human blood inside the sole.
As American pop culture continues to circle the drain, we're seeing rampant sin glorified in popular music. Everything from murder, theft, adultery, homosexuality, pornography.
Is murder being glorified? Actually, probably. There's probably music that glorifies murder. I just realized how naive I sound.
Pornography, gender confusion. Actually, things are so bad in the...
Oh god, no, not gender confusion. That's even worse than murder.
She's basically saying the devil's so powerful, God will want Satan on his team. Really? Biblically speaking, Satan is not more powerful than God. Satan is a created being. In scripture, Satan can't...
Yeah, that's a good point. Remember, God made Satan. And he knew it was gonna happen. And he could have stopped him, and he decided not to, because he's an arsehole. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian, for the reminder. We've watched too many people today, that's my excuse.
Can't even touch Job's stuff without asking God first for permission. That's how far Satan is below the God of the universe. It's not even close. To consider Satan more powerful than God is a direct rejection of biblical authority, and it goes back to a lie. The lie.
Well, it's a good thing that we're talking about a song. A work of creative fiction, a blend of poetry and music, and not a non-fiction article on Billie Eilish's personal theology. So we don't have to waste our lives arguing over how biblically accurate all songs are.
The Bible tells us in Hebrews 2:14, Christ came that he might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is, the devil. The solution.
Yes, right on. I mean, he was supposed to have already done that. He was meant to come do that like 2,000 years ago. I guess he's busy. While we're waiting for Jesus to come back like he was meant to ages ago, we'll make YouTube videos about how loads of popular celebrities are actually satanic and evil. And it's not because that will make us a lot of money through clicks. It's because we're worried about children. There's no point wasting any more time on any of this. It's all the same thing. We're just circling the drain of content, taking a piece of essentially literature and saying, if we take this literally and put all of these out of context things together in this new context, it sounds evil and scary, so you shouldn't let your children listen to music. It's intellectually dishonest. It's lazy, it's stupid. We hate Colin the most because he's a big old homophobe and really fucking dumb about it. There's so much stupid. And I don't know how much these people they seem genuine in their faith. I don't know how much they can be when they do so much manipulation, when they're so deliberately trying to just manipulate people's faith to cause fear. It seems like the sort of thing that the devil would do, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. Do give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss future videos. Share it with a pal. Share it with a grandma. Just share it with somebody. Sharing is caring. That's in the Bible. Not word for word, but the general gist is. If you'd like to see more from me, you can follow me at Emma Thorne Backstage. You get more vloggy, chatty, lifestyle-y stuff that doesn't fit here, basically. If you like video games or you just like hearing my silly voice, you can follow me at Little Duck Gaming. I post over there the most frequently, at least 2 times a week. We got spooky satanic horror games, we got fun little multiplayer adventures, we've got cutesy little wholesome games that even hardcore Christians would love. Actually, they'd probably find a reason to hate, like Smushy Come Home or something. Talking mushrooms? That's demonic. Similarly, I am live on Twitch. Sometimes. I haven't been in the last week. Last week, I lied about being live on the Saturday because my mum was visiting, so I didn't stream. I'm gonna say, today, it should happen. I should really be there, and I'm sorry if I'm not. But you can follow me at Emma Little Duck on Twitch, and then you'll get a notification whenever I'm about to go live. If you're in the market for some new headphones, do check out Raycon using the link down below. That helps me out. You can also become a channel member right here, right now, or later, or not at all. I don't mind that much. You just get some goofy little emotes, you get a little cute chick next to your name, and comment priority. The best way to support this channel and get some fun little extras, extra videos, musically singing stuff, but you don't have to listen to those if that sounds off-putting, is via the Patreon. And with that, I must give a big old thank you and a shout out to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. Especially Conla. God damn it, Conla. Most importantly, have yourselves a very lovely week. Hail Satan, and I will see you very soon.